Hello everyone, and welcome to another artifact video. This is a little video in the background of me doing a draft with 2 Svens and 2 Crystal Maidens, which I thought was pretty interesting. And it was pretty fun. The deck didn't really pan out the way I kind of wanted to. I was hoping I could actually use Crystal Maiden to ramp, but it made sense that I wasn't able to, that it can only go up to your tower's maximum. But in any case, there's some pretty cool plays here, and I'll talk more about what happens in this just a little bit, because it's kind of some interesting stuff does kind of happen. But for most parts, it's just gonna be, of course, in the background here. This, of course, my facial artifact review, and I think that I have an interesting opinion on this game after playing it a while. And of course, I've played countless thousands of hours in card games. I have a huge repertoire of all the different ones I've played for so much time. So I feel like I have a pretty good perspective on this, and I have, an opinion that has some kind of merit to it. So instead of slow rolling you and going through it all, and then at the end telling you kind of my final stuff, I'm not going to do pros and cons first. I'm going to tell you straight up my final opinion on this game, and then we'll go into pros and cons and go into detail on why that's my final opinion. My final opinion on this game is it's bad, and I don't see myself playing it very much more. Now, allow me to go into detail on that. The problems with this game, there's too many problems, because they somehow managed to make a game that has more RNG than Hearthstone. And so that means I feel like this game just isn't competitive at all, almost. The RNG is so much more swingy than Hearthstone, even, that every single time I win or lose, it's always on the back of some wild RNG, almost always. And it's not always even the RNG. There's so many other flaws, and I'm gonna keep going. So I'm gonna just reiterating myself. The next main thing that's a problem with this game is how initiative works, because you can ruin your opponent so hard with initiative. If you have initiative, there are so many cards that let you just stop your opponent from playing the game that it is just utterly absurd. And there are numerous examples of this. Excuse me. Drow Ranger's 4-mana spell. You get 3 copies of a Drow Ranger in your deck. Silences all enemy heroes. So if they have initiative, they cast their Gust, you literally cannot play cards for that entire round. And there are tons of cards that do this and have this effect. So I thought that it would make more sense. I'm not a game designer, of course, and I'm sure that Valve probably tested this, that it would make more sense if, instead of taking turns playing cards were played simultaneously. Both players decided if they were going to do a thing or not. They did their thing, and then they hit the button, and both players' actions happened at the same time. So, for instance, if someone played Gust to silence your only blue hero, and you played a blue spell, your blue spell would happen at the same time as their Gust, so your spell would resolve, their spell would resolve, and then you couldn't play any more cards. I think that makes so much more sense, because it makes it so much less swingy. It makes it so much less just, oh, he had a silence on my one guy, now I lose because I can't play any cards. There's cards that even specifically do that, even without having to silence enemy minions. Enough Magic is a card that I've talked about, which is insane, which is 5 mana, and your opponent can't. It just means your opponent can't play. And there's many of these effects where your opponent just can't do anything. It feels really bad, because you get behind one time, and all of a sudden, now all your best laid plans are put to rest because your opponent had initiative and did something to your hero. You can be like, oh, well, Then this lane, I'm ready. I'm gonna play this spell and I'm gonna win. Silenced hero. Because he had initiative, of course. But then if you had initiative, you would have won. And it's so much worse than just a simple, like in Hearthstone, going first or going second. Especially because there is no advantage to the person who goes second. It's just a huge drawback. Like, so insanely massive that it's insurmountable most of the time. It just is so infuriating. Of course, that goes along with all the RNG, all these dice rolls, these literal 50% chance for something good to happen, 25% chance for something good to happen. Ogre Magi, 25% chance to copy any blue spell you cast. And it's like, it it doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't make any sense. If they wanted to add randomness, they should have added something. If the Ogre Magi, if I were to make Ogre Magi, I probably would have been like 25% chance whenever you cast a blue spell to add one of 3 or 4 cards to your hand from a set pool. And it could be themed for Ogre Magi. You could have like Fire Blast and like it stuns a enemy hero, and you could have Bloodlust. Like maybe Bloodlust is really good, lets you move a hero to another lane, gives them like attack to show that they have movement speed and attack speed. The fire one. What is that? I can't remember what it's called. Ignite? I think it's just called Ignite. You could give that one of the spells you could get could be Ignite, and it does like some damage to an enemy hero. Maybe that puts a dot on them for like 2 turns, and they can't move to show that they're slowed. Like I think that there's a lot of missing mechanics here, and not only the missing mechanics, but like I said, all this RNG. Like it's so swingy. That 25% chance could give you the best blue spell in the game back, and let you cast it another time, or it could miss every single time. Someone's always gonna feel bad in those situations. There's always going to be someone who's upset because of pretty much a coin flip. 25% is less than that even. But there's OD. He has a 50% chance to restore 2 mana to your tower. There's just all kinds of garbage. Crystal Maiden, on the other hand, I think is a really well-designed card, which gives you 2 mana, refreshes 2 mana for the first time you cast a spell in each lane, which I think is really good. It's a cool ability. It's not super good. I don't think Crystal Maiden is an amazing hero or anything, but it doesn't have that huge swingy randomness. It's a set effect that happens. And I mean, there's a million other ways I think Ogre Magi could have been changed. And still have RNG. It's just that this toxic RNG is in the game. It's just so swingy and it's so coin flippy. And I really like. I'm gonna talk about some of the pros now. I really like that the game has a huge layer of depth. I really think that it's very easy to look at one lane and look at your cards and be like, well, this is the right play for this lane. But then it might not. You might need that card in another lane, or you might need to do something in another lane. And it has this very grand strategy feeling to it, which is very nice. I very much like that. But then, like I said, when all my best laid plans are completely shattered due to just not having the initiative and then getting totally shut out of even playing anything all the freaking time, it really ruins the entire experience. Because like I said, I really like the feeling of like that grand strategy and like, oh man, I planned this out for the past 3 turns and now we're here and I'm gonna make it happen. But you always feel just like anything can happen at any moment. And that's good in some ways, of course, because definitely every game is different. But every game also feels like a coin flip at the same time. And I think that when I was first playing the game, I was so into the depth. But then when I looked at it from like that bigger picture, I'm like, oh wait, well I'm barely even doing anything really. It's all coming down to like the last thing at the very end all the time. And this game has a good example of that actually at the very end here. Which I'm going to skip to now. We're going to talk about this game a little bit. Excuse me. This is going to spoil the ending, but that's okay. Excuse me again, my throat's a little bit today. So, here is where it happens. I'm looking down this board, and I know I have Crystal Maiden here. And I had previously tricked him, I felt like I kind of tricked him into playing Bristleback into this lane, because I know he wants to win this lane. So I put my Sven that came into play at the same time as Bristleback did into mid lane, so I could win the mid lane the next turn. Okay? So his turrets here is down to 7. So I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to win here next turn because I put my Sven here. And I have Annihilation in my hand, so I'm going to annihilate this lane. So it doesn't matter that nothing's here, and I'm going to win the game. Foolproof plan, right? Excuse me. Again, damn. Oh, wait, he has initiative. Silence a unit. I can't play any cards. Wow, wasn't that fun? And I lose. Wow, isn't that... Wow, doesn't that just feel like so fun? What a fun mechanic. It's like if Magic the Gathering had some kind of spell that was just like your opponent can't play cards of the chosen color, but it's like even worse than that. It's like even somehow worse than that. Like, I don't even know how I could compare it to Magic the Gathering. Because obviously you're like, well, Magic the Gathering, they have counter spells. But it's like, there's so much counterplay to counter spells. So much counterplay. You could play multiple spells in the same turn. Eventually they're going to run out of those. Or they don't have the mana to cast them all. You could play spells that can't be countered. You could counter the counter spells. But here, there was no option. There was no choice in this. Literally, if I played first, I would have won this game. And there's nothing else to it. If I would have played this lane first, I would have won. But because he had initiative, just tells me I can't play any cards. And that, man, that is such a core problem. Such a core problem. I mean, I can't see myself playing this. I can't. I really can't. And I don't really want to keep this video too long. I feel like I've kind of said what I need to say. The pros, of course, the 3 boards, amazing. Graphics, amazing. Theme, on point. Really, they nailed a lot of stuff in this. Just some extremely questionable design decisions, in my personal opinion, that really hold this game back competitively. And I'm playing card games to be competitive. I want to make decks that are really good, that beat other people, and me feeling like I made good decisions, and I made a good deck, and I outskilled people, and I beat them. Not that I rolled lucky on initiative and got to play my spells before they did and to completely annihilate them, which would have, I mean, maybe even it probably would have even felt that here. I mean, just how it is, and I don't think that's going to change. I think that they hard committed to this design, and this is how it's going to be, and that just makes me very, very sad. Some other minor issues. Moving your heroes I think is way too OP. I say that obviously moving the heroes should be a thing in the game, but I think that the options, there's not enough ways to do it in a way, but at the same time, the ways to do it are too easy. Like the Blink Dagger is so absurdly OP that it's a must-have in every deck. I've talked about this before in my other videos, so I'm not going to go into that too much. And there's no way to stop a lot of these things. I think that it could have been pretty easy. I think there could have been a lot of effects that say like, oh, enemy heroes can't move this turn, and something like that would be interesting too if the design was simultaneous play. Your opponents play something to move their heroes, and you at the same time you played something that said they can't move their heroes, and now you cancel out their effect. And I think that there was a lot of potential here, and I think that it was very squandered. And I've heard opinions ranging. A lot of people love it, and I mean, I don't know if they're gonna keep loving it. I don't know if I'm the crazy one, but to me, this is just how I feel after having played, every other major card game on an internet card game and real life card games. Of course, not every other major real life card game, but a lot of them. Um, and I really I can't recommend it. I can't promote it. It's just unless you really are just wanting. But the problem is, of course, is that I want to say that if you're really looking for casual play, it's good. But at the same time, it's the most thought-provoking card game. You have to really think when you're playing this game. You have to be thinking about all the lanes and all the things you could do, and it requires a lot of mental power for something I consider very casual. In any case, that's my opinion. Don't know if anyone cares, but that's just what I think. Have a good day, guys. Deuces.